Just before we dive back into the episode, I wanted to quickly share something that might interest you, especially if today's conversation has got you thinking about your own sustainability work. Some of the things we hear most in this industry are, I wish I could connect with other people doing this work, or I'd love to turn my sustainability expertise into something more. Well, 51 to Carbon Zero, the sponsor of this podcast, have created their own referral network. And it does exactly that. This isn't about selling you something, it's actually about helping you make money while building the sustainability community we all need. So here's what's in it for you. First, you get to join a genuine community of sustainability experts who share knowledge, refer work to each other, and solve problems together. So, no more working in isolation. Secondly, there's real money involved. There's 10% plus commission on software referrals. We're talking about projects that go from 30 grand up to 100 grand. Plus, you'll be able to boost your presence by taking part in our fireside chats. I've actually got an email in front of me from Louise Stevens, one of the ambassadors, and it says that all her clients are genuinely happy because she's got a great partner and her clients love them. But here's the bigger picture. You'll be helping accelerate the sustainability transition that we all desperately need. Every referral, every connection, every collaboration moves us closer to the world we're all working towards. If this resonates with you and you want to earn some extra income, click the link in our show notes to become a 51 to Carbon Zero ambassador. Okay, back to the show. Welcome to the Green Element podcast, where we meet business leaders and innovators transforming their operations to be more environmentally and socially sustainable, and in the process, help you on your sustainability journey. I'm your host, Will Richardson. Our homes are made from thousands of different materials, but do we really know where these materials come from and what their environmental impact is? Today, we are joined by Rachel Fowler, a sustainable interior designer who will be sharing her insights into the industry and offering sustainable interior design advice to homeowners. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really looking forward to listening to your insights because we spend so much time indoors, and what we choose to furnish our homes with can negatively affect our health and the health of the environment. I'd really like to ask you how you got involved in sustainable interior design, especially since you started your career as a children's intensive care nurse.
Yes, everybody kind of looks at me vividly or says, wow, that's quite a career change. And I'm like, yep. Well, I love nursing, intensive care nursing, and I went all over the world of it. But I've always liked the arts and design and wanted to change careers in my younger 40s. And I just went back to university and did 3 years and got an honours degree. And then I finished 2019 and I worked for a design house here in Hamburg. And my dissertation for my degree was equipoise and sustainability and luxury and the design of luxury hotels, which I did a global survey and sent it out to lots of companies. And that was quite surprising on my results. And this kind of like fed the seed of like, well, where are we going? You know, even it's not just a homes, and you can go on holiday and stay in a 5-star hotel, but what are you actually staying in? What is surrounding you? You know, are you paying for something that's really luxurious, but is it actually detrimental to your health when you peel back and see what actually is in the products that they're using to create these beautiful spaces? And I just found working for a design house, I just got frustrated in the fact that the products that we use in the companies we're using, and you look back to where these products come from, like from Vietnam, and you know subconsciously that, you know, I've been to Vietnam. Are these people treated fairly? Are they paid fairly? What products are they using to make these like beautiful items of furniture? And I just thought I need to do more. So last year I set up my own company, and I just thought, okay, I've got to do something about this. I check as you do market research. There are people out there, but I've always got this thing that if I'm determined to do something, I'll always do it. And that's just my philosophy in life. And starting my company obviously went into a lockdown, but that didn't deter me. I had a client in the South Coast on the UK that I started working with. And I just thought the lack of knowledge from the client, and then you get the contractors come in and you're just like, no, you can't use this product. What are you doing? Why are people just going back? Why are they stuck in their ways? And I think also from a nursing perspective, when you've looked after people that are really sick because of consequence of something, you think, why are we still using products that are not good for human health and not good for the planet? So I decided that I'd write my book, and that led me even to more of a, wow, look at all the products that are out there. We don't have to keep designing with materials that we've been designing for the last 20, 30 or 40 years. Companies are actually changing and making products which are, have a positive life cycle, which is a thing that I like to talk about a lot when people speak to me. And it's not just a tool that us in the design trade can use. It's getting the word out there and saying to people, use a life cycle tool. When you're buying anything in design or even in your home for like products for cleaning, look at the life cycle. What's it made from? How are the materials? Where do they come from? How is it manufactured? What's the waste from manufacturing? Is it fair trade? Transportation of materials. Can you buy it locally? I know a lot of stuff you can't buy in some countries locally. And end of life, can it be reused? Is it biodegradable? And so I thought, right, I'm going to do this because I have a responsibility. I'm not nursing, but I still have a responsibility to for the health and welfare of people that you're designing for. So that's where it kind of escalated from, and that's my ambition to basically, I don't know, perhaps you might think I'm a bit big-headed, but I think I can take the design industry by storm. And, I'm linking in with so many architects and that at the moment. And obviously we've got COP26 coming up in November. But I think it's starting at the bottom and just getting everybody aware. And it's in homes and offices and hotels. Doesn't matter where you are, what you're decorating or designing. We all have a responsibility to look after ourselves and that environment.
Yeah, and I think it's really important, but I think it's really hard what you are trying to do, because we've just recently done up our house, and we bought a house that hadn't been touched since the very early 60s, 62 I think. So I went into it considering what I do for a living with yes, we're going to be the most environmentally friendly house possible. I want to have hemp insulation. I want to have this type of paint. I want to have this. And we ended up with triple glazing windows. We ended up with a lot of insulation. I did what I could. But the bit that I struggled with massively was the architect didn't have a clue. He said he was more environmental when we started talking to him. But actually, when it came down to it, he didn't know about different insulations that we could be using. The builder didn't have a clue about the insulations, and that's no disrespect to particularly the builder, because why would he was brilliant and very, very good, but it's that knowledge, isn't it? And so we were then on a time frame of we were actually expecting our second baby, so therefore we had to get things done at a certain time, otherwise we weren't going to get into the house before we had the baby, so therefore it was a ticking clock. We also had a budget as well, which if I was told right at the beginning, this is the budget, this is what hemp will cost, yes, over longer, or whatever paint you use, we would have put the budget together with everything in place rather than do everything at the last minute and hope and actually never end up doing as much as you want to do. And it came down to knowledge. I didn't have the time to research, and then educate the people around me and in the time frame. So we need to be educating the people that are advising us, don't we?
You've hit on two big keys. I have a conversation with an architect in the UK down towards, I think it was Eastbourne, and I was basically asking them what do they think are the stumbling blocks for sustainability. And they just said some people don't want to be the first ones to have it, the cost. But I think, yes, some of the products, building products, are expensive, But if you look at the longevity of it, and also I think when you set up on a design project, rather than think, oh yeah, let's do this, it's sitting down and doing a cost specification sheet. Okay, this is what we want to achieve. Let's cost it out. And then once you've costed it out and you think, okay, what products do I really need to create what I want to create? I mean, because when it comes to furniture, people always say, well, how can sustainability is expensive. How can I make it least expensive? Like, well, what are the essential things that you need to do to build the house or to create the space? And like, furniture is great, but you can always use secondhand furniture until you can afford to then go and buy what you want to put in that space that's sustainable. Yeah, I just think even though some of the products are expensive, I just think when it comes to creating the property itself and the wall coverings and the floor coverings, what you use in the bathrooms, what you put in the kitchen, I mean, and those are the expensive things. And then the other bits like the furniture, if you want to put rugs and that, you can think that last. And also a lot of people think of like, oh yeah, lighting, I'll do that at the last minute. You're just like, no, because you can actually create a sustainable house by doing a correct lighting design initially when you're developing the concept for your design, and using as much natural light in your property as possible. And there's lots of other different ways that you can bring natural light in, so you don't have to reduce the amount of energy that you're consuming. I mean, if you go into some properties, some contractors will put, like, you look at a ceiling and it's just like, wow, how many LED lights have you got in the ceiling here? It's crazy. Just like thinking, this is crazy. And yeah, it's hard when it comes to contractors. I don't want to upset anybody on your podcast who listens to it, but there's always people's bottom line and budgets. And my experience is like, oh yeah, they go back to, you can do your plans, you can say, you can recommend it. And then the contractors can go to client, oh, I can do this and get this cheaper. And it's just trying to break that concept of like, look, come on, you're not promoting a healthy environment for your client. And actually, like I was saying to you previously before we started the podcast, I've just finished the Healthy Materials course by the New School University in New York. And in the States now, they're worried that if they don't design in such a way that it's healthy, they can get sued. And you think, well, this is thing is, it's going to come out. It will go out to the rest of the world, won't it? Because but you just think, why are you using, I don't know, sealants around the windows or whatever that are full of chemicals? There are other stuff out there, as well as hemp insulation. You've got mycelium, which is mushroom insulation. There are so many amazing products out there. And I know, I said I was a nurse before I went into design. As a nurse, there's no way that I could afford a designer. So I thought, for God's sake, how can we get this information out there so that everybody's got access to it? It's not just those that have got the money that can afford an architect, can afford a designer, which is why I wrote the book. And specifically in that book, I thought, I'm going to put products in there. Yes, I'm taking a gamble here because there's greenwashing. Everyone knows about it. But the companies that I've worked with that are included in it, they're really good. I did all my research. There's no greenwashing as much as you can hope for. But it is really hard, and it is education. I belong to the Architects Climate Action Network group, and this comes up quite frequently about contractors and that. There are some architects out there, but it's like anything. Everybody wants to do a design project. They want to see the results. They want to do it now. I think it's about taking a step back and thinking, how can I do this sustainably that's actually going to promote mine and my family's health and well-being? Or how can I create a hotel or an office that's actually going to make my employers feel good, feel happy? Because it's not just the health, it's the mental effects that any property can have on people or employees. So if you design sustainably and healthily, you're hopefully going to reduce the stress on the people and family. So at the end of the day, you're looking after their physical and mental well-being. Yeah, it is tough, but you know what? It's just like, I don't know, you'd have to be like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. You just have to battle your way through it and think, I can do this and I can help people. So yeah, we can do it. I think that's the attitude. We can do it. It's just, you've just got to break down the barriers.
Yeah. So why is sustainability important to embed into interior design?
Oh my goodness me. If you if you look at some of the materials that are out there that have been used for 20, 30 years, I mean, I used it in a book. I've done my last chapters about infant nurseries, because a lot of people, when you're expecting a baby, it's like, oh, we've got to get this, we've got to do this, we've got to put a carpet on the floor, we have to do this. And then you're like, let's take a step back, because traditionally carpets, they were stuck together using glues which contain formaldehyde. There's just so much stuff in products that needs to come out. It's just shocking. Infants spend their first couple of years crawling around on the floor. So it's just evaluating what is in the product on the floor, what's in the carpet. There are sustainable carpets out there. There's even sustainable underlays now that you can get out there. But do you need to put a carpet down? Can you put a nice rug down? Also, furniture. What's furniture covered in? I mean, traditionally, lacquers and stuff would contain all kind of chemicals. But now this is changing. There's a great company, I think they're German, called Oro. They do lacquers, finishes, floorings, finishes, and theirs are all natural materials. There's no hidden chemicals. And it's not just the fact that your inhalation. I mean, if you touch a product that's got some kind of chemical or something in it, you can touch it. Then if you lick your hand, if you're eating a piece of fruit or something, you're ingesting it. So, I mean, also another example is bedding. And this can be quite a big topic. There are a few companies out there, though, that actually provide some bedding that don't contain chemicals in their manufacturing process. But if you think, and mattresses too, but if you're a person that sweats a lot at night and your mattress is covered in fire retardant, or your bedding is the non-ironable stuff which contains chemicals in it to make, that's why it doesn't be, you don't have to iron it. When you sweat, you're absorbing the chemicals that have been used in the products. It's like if you're sitting in a chair and you're quite a sweaty person, it's a hot day, you're absorbing the chemicals. It's quite scary what chemicals have been used. But in another matter of fact, there is more and more information becoming available obviously with social media is such a big thing now. I totally recommend people to go, and if you're on Instagram, to the Healthy Materials Lab, because they post stuff out there that is really informative. I mean, I do myself. I post 5 times a week, to try and help people make those choices. Like, really think about what's in the product. This is why, look at the life cycle. And some products like paint, if a quantity is under a certain amount, they don't have to declare it, which is crazy stupid. So hopefully, and I know if you speak to a lot of designers, they say that the design industry for buildings and construction in homes, offices, commercial properties, it needs to be more regulated so that people can't we'll make this and we'll use these chemicals so they can't greenwash as well.
It's such a exhaustive subject, isn't it? And it's really, I think that's why it's possibly quite hard to understand it all, isn't it? Because it is so big.
Yeah, I think you could Google life cycle, cradle to cradle, and there's so much information out there, but that is a key tool because it gives you the incentive to go to the manufacturer to say, okay, what's in the product then? What are you actually putting in the product? Why? I mean, there's a company in Italy, they make tiles just purely from clay and rainwater, which is amazing. There's no chemicals in there. There's another company in California who are carbon zero for making their tiles. It's all made from recycled materials. So I think the information's out there, but it's really hard because you've got these big corporations that have been manufacturing products for so long that have swamped the industry. And, and for now, sustainability is coming up. Obviously, there is greenwashing, but these companies are now, the companies that are doing it sustainably are coming up behind them, because magazines, and if you see, like in the world of interiors, you can see that they're changing the way that they're putting their style in their magazines. Elle Decoration, they have a bit on sustainability, and it's becoming more and more evident. So the education will be there, but when you've got the big corporations mass manufacturers, and you've also got the big contracting companies. They're the ones that we really have to change their way for it to change.
We've had Brendan Rowan on, one of the original Cradle to Cradle consultants. He's written a few books on the subject. It's a really interesting podcast. I should point you in that direction. Circular economy products will be integral to a sustainable design. What products have you created or worked with that are surprisingly circular?
Circular design. That's a good one. Because for me, that just goes back to Cradle what we've been talking about when you can reuse. There's a really good product that, for me, there's a wallpaper company. They're based in Italy, and they've basically created a wallpaper that is made from plant-based. It goes on the wall with a special wallpaper paste, which is plant-based. And when it comes off, it's biodegradable. So for a sense so you're taking it out of the ground, you're putting it on the wall, and you can put it back into the ground. For me, that's the circular economy, in a sense that it's not detrimental as the fact that, we're taking it out, putting it on, and then we're like the linear approach where you're chucking it away. And I think furniture, another is, when you get wooden kitchens that are completely wood, the carcasses aren't made from like a prefab material. The whole kitchen is wood, and I think this is becoming more evident. So basically, you can take it back down at the end of that kitchen's life. You can reuse it and recycle it. But when it comes to stuff like paint, obviously, is quite a tough one. I always say, don't chuck your paint away. You might be able to use it somewhere else. But for a circular economy, it's just thinking, that's like I say, it's the manufacturers, it's really hard. But for furniture, buy solid wooden furniture and just recycle it, resell it, take it to a flea market. Lighting is another one. You can go buy secondhand light and obviously get it super checked by somebody. It can all be recycled. So from a circular economy point of view, when it comes to interior design, it's like, well, you can't manufacture it. It's basically, can we reuse it? It's just like hotel designs. That a lot of the big hotel companies are, I can say, when they own more than one hotel chain, like Fairmont and they'll own a couple, and they'll be like 5-star luxurious down to 2-star, 3-star. And one concept could be is like, rather than, okay, let's just get rid of this furniture, you could recycle that through all the different stars of the hotel chain. So you're continuously recycling the furniture, or you could donate that to a social housing people.
Yeah.
So that you can do a circular economy.
Yeah.
It all depends, unfortunately, what the product that you're buying is covered in and how it can be finished into end of life. And you look at fabrics, obviously in the UK, some stuff has to be covered in fire retardant, which is really frustrating. That was brought in because of the US, and now I don't think they use fire retardant on all their products. I think it's just in commercial properties. So it's really hard to buy fabric, if you're in a commercial setting, especially in the UK, that hasn't got to be coated in something to protect for fire regulations. But if you buy in material, like natural material like hemp, linen, cotton, which is GOTS certified, if it's GOTS certified, you know that it's fair trade. There's no chemicals, there's no pesticides or anything that's been used to grow it. I mean, this is great. This fabric can be reused. You can reuse it after you've used it for curtains. You can recycle it for something else. And at the end of the day, if it goes back in the ground, if it's all natural products, it's not going to do any harm. Yeah. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it does. Because you can also use, I'm seeing more and more, there's an Italian company, and I can't remember what it's called. We want to do our office up using, they kind of connect their connectors to pieces of wood. So you can actually build furniture out of old wood. Yeah. It's really clever, and I'm starting to see it more and more, where you've got the new bits are literally the connectors, and then when you're redoing your office, you could actually take everything apart and then build a load of new stuff using the same connectors. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if you could take furniture apart rather than glue it. Go back to using screws. and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because if gluing it is just, it's glue, unless you can really find a glue that's not got any chemicals in, that will affect the sustainability of your product. But if you screw it, even for shelves, don't fix it. I mean, no more nails, not a good advert for no more nails, but I mean, that's just got chemicals in, right? So let's just go back. And when I did this healthy materials course, like, let's just go back to how we used to build furniture and stuff, using screws and stuff. I mean, it's so hip now to have secondhand furniture. Why do you need to keep buying brand new?
Yeah. For our listeners at home just now, what advice would you give them if they were redecorating their homes and trying to do so sustainably?
Okay, first thing I would say is don't rush to do it. Just take your time in the planning stage, define what your concept is, define what you want to use that space for, who's going to be using that space, and do a good space planning. So basically, just do a sketch out or draw out what you want in that space. Because come on, how many of us have thought, when I first got married, my husband bought our first house, oh yeah, let's get this. And we had an old Victorian terrace cottage. We bought this roll top tub, and then we got home, and then the size wouldn't fit in the bathroom, of course. That's my husband's fault because he didn't measure it right. So it's just like, just really do that space planning. It might sound really boring and like, oh, this is so not boring, but don't put so much stuff in your space. Just keep it like not minimal, because not everybody likes minimal, but think about, will it flow? If you put too much in a space, you're not going to need it. You're going to end up selling it, or if you can't sell it, it's just going to end up going to the tip, which would be detrimental. And it also, if your space flows, you've got good space planning, it will promote your mental and physical well-being. And this is not even in your home, in your office environment too. The next thing is work out your design style that you want. And this could be used in residential, or it could be used for your business. What is your branding for your business? How do you want people to see you when you walk into your office or your reception area? And then, right, okay, I want to do sustainably. It's like, we call it a cost specification sheet in the design industry, but then go around and research your materials, write down what you need, and research the materials. Where can I buy this? How can I buy it sustainably? Don't believe what's on the can on a lot of products. There's so much greenwashing out there. If the company's marketed product, we're totally organic, I would be asking myself questions, because if you're going to buy sustainable materials, make sure it's third-party certified, like we discussed earlier, cradle to cradle. There's in my book, at the back is a glossary of all third-party certifications that you can look for. And then once you've allocated, okay, I know this is how much materials are going to cost me, this is what I want to create it sustainably, you might think, oh, my budget's not going to cover this. So you can kind of like, well, what do I essentially need to create the space? What can I just, I don't know, let's go to the secondhand shop and buy a secondhand sofa or a table or something to do and save to get the furniture or whatever else you want to put in there. Another thing I would suggest is biophilia is exploding in the design world. It has been for the last 12 months. Take it back to nature, include things like pot plant. Think of the colours that you're including in your home. How do they affect you? Colour affects everybody totally differently. I've got a friend that I used to work with, a nurse. If you said to her, let's paint a space yellow, she'd be like, no, that colour means that someone's loony, is a psychotic colour for me. I don't like it. So don't just go with the design trends, Hopefully the interior design industry will start following that of the fashion industry, where we won't have all these trends every year, because that's what's affecting the planet. So really think of the colour, connect back to nature. What makes the space calming for you? Utilize as much natural daylight in your space as possible. Don't leave your light, when you're doing your space planning, do your lighting design at the same time. What lights do you want in there? What mood do you want the space? And obviously lighting, there are companies out there now that are manufacturing sustainable lighting, and they're good products. Or if you buy secondhand lights, or if you're into chandeliers, or that's your kind of thing, buy a chandelier secondhand, but get it, obviously make sure that it's checked by an electrician and it's safe to hang. Just think of what you can do. And if you can't also afford things, there are services now where you can rent furniture. So you could rent an item of furniture for 6 months. I'm not sure the cost of it, but whilst you're saving to get the rest of it. So, but really think down to the bricks and mortar when you're just initially, if I wanted to do this sustainably, how can I do this? So I'm promoting the health and the well-being of my family, my friends, my work colleagues, my employees. There is so much information out there. I mean, I don't mind people emailing me saying, okay, I'm really stuck on this. How can I go for this? I don't mind people emailing me and asking me because, I surround myself in it every day, to be honest. I work 7 days a week just to try and keep ahead of things. But really really break down your design project, really look at all the materials you want to use. Yes, it's boring because you just want to get the design done, but think about how healthy you want your spaces to be, how you want to promote the well-being of the planet. And I don't know, perhaps it's because I was a nurse, but it's shocking what's in some of the materials. There are some paint companies out there at the moment that are really misleading, that are advertising that they are plant-based and sustainable, and they're not. It is. And once you've done this, once you've done your research, the planning, the space planning, your product, what you want to use, it will make your design flow and it will make the project run so easily. And if you're going to get a contractor involved, say to the contractor, this is materials I want to use. There's just don't go and put this in there. This is what I want. And I do think that there are going to be more and more companies shooting up that are out there. I mean, if you are starting a design project, a good magazine is Enki Mag in the UK. They are a really good magazine. All the products they put in there, the kitchen designs, everything is sustainable.
I think listening to you, it's still a lot of the onus is on the person doing up the house, isn't it? Whereas if you were doing it in a less sustainable way, the onus is on the contractor.
Yeah.
And so therefore, most people don't have time in their day. But I think one thing I've got from listening to you is if you're going to do any research at all, research into the certifications that are recommended, and then you don't need to worry about what's on the tin of paints, because if it's not certified, not to buy it.
Yeah, that's yes. But also on that effect is that to get these certifications, they're not cheap. Cradle to cradle certification, it costs companies a lot of money, so they might not be able to. I think a key thing is just look at your life cycle, just really break down, try to find out what is in a product. It's just that life cycle tool. I don't know, if I compare it back to my job, it would be like my basic life support thing would be the life cycle tool. Because the third-party certification is great and look for products like that. But I do know there are some companies, especially a lot of new companies that are starting out, that third-party certification is, I'm designing my own sustainable wallpaper. It is really expensive. I can't afford that certification for a couple of years until the money starts to come in on the wallpaper. So the Healthy Materials Lab described it well. Okay, so when you're shopping in the supermarket for some food, you don't want the chemicals, a piece of meat or vegetables that are sprayed with chemicals. So why would you want to choose a kitchen counter worktop that's been manufactured using chemicals that when you put stuff on it, you're going to ingest those chemicals?
You've just brought up your sustainable wallpaper. So how is sustainable wallpaper different to your standard, so to speak?
I have to be very careful here. I could get myself in trouble, possibly. No, I possibly could, because it's a hard thing. I mean, I'm working with Surface Print there in Lincolnshire. I might be wrong. My geography's not very good. Brain's not very good at remembering people's addresses. But they use a renewable energy system for manufacturing their wallpaper. And the wallpaper that I'm selecting, it's not like the company in Italy. It's a different product. Initially, when I went to them, I said, look, my USP sustainability, I can't have anything with plastic because this totally goes against what I stand for. And also, it's not promoting the well-being of clients. And they said, well, they said, I'll send some samples, let me know what he thinks. They sent me out samples. I had a look and oh, I like this one. And then I arranged a Zoom call because we were in lockdown. And he said, oh, the non-woven wallpaper's got plastic in, not a large amount, but it contains plastic. And I'm like, I can't use that. That goes against what I stand for. So I said, well, what are my options? He said, well, currently there's not really much. Everybody uses the non-woven because it's easy to put up. You just paste the wall, you stick it on and you can wipe it. It's got plastic in, that's why. So I was just like, oh, well, what can I do? And he's just like, well, the option is only to go back to traditional wallpaper, which is just paper. So I'm like, okay, if I have to do this, I'll put my feelers out, do a bit of research on social media. And then they're working with a German company and they're just working on a non-woven wallpaper that's plant-based and hopefully sustainable. And there's a couple of things that I'm just checking out of them at the moment, that there's no chemicals and stuff in them. Hopefully that will work. But if you look at a lot of the wallpaper, like vinyl wallpaper, vinyl makes my toes curl anyway, because vinyl is just chemicals, So why a lot of some bathroom wallpaper is vinyl, and you're just like, well, you're great. You're in your nice, relaxing shower or bathroom with vinyl wallpaper, but you're actually breathing in chemicals. It's not a place to retreat to, which is going to be healthy. Non-woven wallpaper, I'm not sure about all, but the company I'm working with said some non-woven wallpaper's got plastic in. I'm like, okay, that's off-gassing. So it's like, again, like I keep saying, you've just got to look what's in the product. It's like you're going to buy, I don't know, a box of cereals and you don't want your children to be bouncing off the wall because it's got so much sugar and stuff in. So you look at the cereal box to make sure there's no E numbers and sugar in it. It's kind of like having to do that when you're looking at products.
Here's a question for you. Should you be using wallpaper full stop? Is paint better than wallpaper?
Well, wallpaper's been around for I can tell you wallpaper's been around because I actually did a blog article. I think it's a Chinese or Japanese. I think it's a Chinese that invented wallpaper originally, and it was rice paper, which would have been just totally biodegradable. I think wallpaper is a good thing. People said, well, why design a wallpaper? Do we need it? I said, well, if it's made sustainably and it's biodegradable at the end of the life, what harm are you doing? And the paper is FSC sourced, then there's no damage on the environment. Obviously, if you're buying wallpaper like vinyl that's got chemicals, once you take it off, obviously, when you steam wallpaper off of its vinyl, it's not going to be good for you or the environment. And that's just going to go in the ground. It's not biodegradable and it will pollute. Paints. Well, once you put paint on the wall, you can't really do anything with it. It's there forever. And then if you want to change it, you'll just paint over it. If it's a plant-based paint, obviously it's better for the environment. I think it's up to individual choice. Personally, I think wallpaper is a good thing. As long as the materials are sustainably sourced and at the end of the life, it's biodegradable, it can go in the ground and it's not going to cause any problem with with the environment.
So you've written a book, which is going to be published later this year. Could you tell us a bit about your book and what's in it and why we should buy it?
Goodness me, this was on a whim. I thought I'm going to write this book because like I said to you earlier, I was a nurse. I couldn't afford an architect or interior designer, but everybody has the right to live in healthy, humane, and sustainable spaces, And so I just thought, okay, I'll write this book. How do I write a book? I just Googled it. How do you write a book? So I used Google I wrote some notes, but okay, I'll write this book. And I have dyslexia. So, and my husband was like, are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, it's just like doing your dissertation, isn't it, for your degree? How hard can it be, kind of thing? So I wrote my book, I broke it into chapters, got it done, wrote it in 9 months. And I'm glad I did it because it was such a great journey in the sense that finding companies like a paint company in Iceland that are creating paint from rhubarb. It was just absolutely fascinating to research products and prove, like you said, to some architects, they don't know much about sustainability. And you're just like, well, yeah, there's just so much stuff out here, guys. Let's just read it. And it was really great to create. It's in 7 chapters and it covers most of the design elements, wall coverings, floor coverings. And each section, for instance, In the wall coverings, there's cork wall covering and stuff. And I've actually researched companies in there, and there's images of these companies' products, because I know a lot of people, they can say, oh yeah, this is a company, but what do their products look like? How do I know that's going to suit what I need? That was great. That was a really great thought, and I'm glad I did it. But then when they got to the publisher, she's like, we need copyright for all these, and the book's going to be sold globally, so we have to have globally copyright. And I'm like, oh man. So I think, even though I formed some really good relationship with companies, I think they're like, please don't email us again about copyright. And I'm just like, I have to do it. So yeah, it's a go-to. I'm not joking. They were like, yes, that's fine. And I had to sign lots of forms, NDAs and stuff, and the information. But the book, I sat and I thought, if I was doing a research project, I had no design knowledge, I haven't, like you say, not many people have the time to sit down and do research unless you're a person that likes to spend evenings on your laptop looking at stuff. So I thought, how can I make this easy for people so it could roll through the things that they're going to need? So I did, and yeah, it works. The publisher is a bit, oh, I don't know. I said, well, look, there's a PDF, read it. And she's like, oh, this is really good. It's so easy to follow. And like I said, the last chapter's on infant and children's rooms, because contacting people, and I've done some written blog articles for like vegan design, Pativa, and they were saying we can't find any information on sustainable and vegan friendly materials for infant nurseries. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll include that. It's vital that we promote health and well-being of our families and children. So yeah, it's for me, it was very nerve-wracking. I've never written a book, but I've totally enjoyed it and built some amazing contacts with companies. And in the book, even though in the chapters I've included companies, at the back of the book there's a complete glossary of companies whose products are sustainable, they're certified, like GOTS certified, everything. And it's, people say, oh, easy writing a book, but when it comes to gaining the trust and obviously working together with companies, that was the biggest thing, I think. Obviously they don't know me, they're, oh, she's going to use our images, she's going to do this, but it didn't. And when you're saying that you're doing your office at the moment, if you need to soundproof it, there's Mogo in Italy. They are making wall panels and ceilings and flooring made from mushroom mycelium, which absorbs all the unwanted noise. So it decreases the level of noise. Wow. And their flooring looks really, it's just, oh my goodness, Will, there are so many amazing products out there that you don't have to do the old stuff. And someone else I sent my book to, and they're like, wow, I'd never thought of cork flooring and stuff. I'm like, yeah, there's alternatives. And, I've kind of, even though it's one chapter for wall coverings, there's loads and loads of different wall coverings that I've included, for floor coverings, for lighting. I've even gone into lighting and saying, okay, before I wrote my book, I was kind of guilty. I pick up a light bulb, LED light bulb, I'm like, what does the letters and the numbers mean? I just need it to look like that, because that's got to go in that lamp fitting. And I explain in the book about what the numbers are, I don't know how I can describe it, like the colour, the vibrancy of the lighting, low lighting, and I've described that all in there, so people go, oh, okay, now I understand it. I've also put in the book how to light a space when you're designing. This could be your workspace, this could be your home space, the layered lighting design, because this is how we work in the design industry, and that's how we create that right atmosphere, by putting the right lighting in, setting that tone, and at a layered effect, so it's not all at one level. And yeah, it's just there's just so much information in there.
I'm going to read your book before we do our office.
Oh, let's look in there. I mean, the book it's for life and work, because I just thought, yeah, there are products out there, and it's so important to reuse what you've got. I emphasize that, especially in the furniture section.
We actually, funny enough, all of our furniture at home is all secondhand.
And how much fun is that? I mean, when I worked in, this is a sidetracking a little bit, I do apologise. When I worked in Sydney, Australia as a nurse in the kids' ICU out there, I lived with these 3 fantastic girls, and our living room looked like something out of the 1970s. We had the ultimate really floral sofa, but it was so iconic. Anybody that came around and visited us mentioned it, like, wow, that actually looks really cool. And yeah, there's just so much you can do to promote sustainable, healthy living and working spaces. It's just, whether you're in a city or in a town or a village, the outside environment is actually probably more healthy than the inside environment because of the materials that we've been used to. But once you start talking to people, I mean, if people want more information, I write a blog post every month, which goes, I didn't last month because I was a bit busy. The publisher was keeping me busy with a book. And on there, I put on there products and materials that you can use to create beautiful working and living places. This month I've just done, it's called Let's Get Plastered Part 1, and it's about Japanese lime wall covering, which has been around for years, and it's sustainable, biodegradable, and it's really good at reflecting light surround. So for your office, if you I don't want to put wallpaper, not really sure about paint, what else can I use? There's products out there that you can use. I think it's totally amazing.
Brilliant. And lastly, what lasting impact, or rather what legacy, would you like to leave in your industry?
I'd like to be like, I can't say what I'd like to say because that sounds a bit rude. I would like to be like the Jackie Chan of just like, I just like to really put it out there, really give a just like, I don't know, Batman, where you go, Batman used to go wham, bam, just have that kind of effect in the design industry to like, come on, guys, let's just do this. We can do this. I mean, I spoke to an architect the other week and she was kind of like, I don't think much is going to change after this. And I said, well, no, because it's up to us to make that change. The more of us that make that change, let's just put the information out there. Let's do it. It's just, I'm not one for sitting back and saying, that's too hard, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, nah, don't be so ridiculous. Let's just get on. Let's do it. We can do it.
Great. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks for listening to the Green Element podcast. If you enjoyed today's content, why not join our post-podcast discussion in our online community at sustainabilitysolved.org. We'll be sharing ideas and collaborating on sustainability and interior design with our members. Join now and find a space to collaborate with like-minded professionals, learn more about sustainable business, and inspire others to become more environmental. We also have an important update for our listeners. We will soon be changing the name of this podcast to Sustainability Solved to better reflect the content of our podcast. You will be able to access all your original podcasts on your preferred platform. And if you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you get every episode, and don't forget to follow Green Element on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. So you really enjoy sustainability and want to be a part of the solution? Come and join our vibrant community now. Book a call and we can talk more.